Hi, Caitlyn.
Hi, Cassie.
Hi, creepy people.
Hello.
If you're new to our creepy corner of the world, this is PNW, Haunts and Homicides, where we chat about true crime, the paranormal, and all things spooky in the Pacific Northwest.
That we do. We also.
Well, you keep forgetting the PNW if you're nasty.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll just say that. Okay. Editors fix this. PNW if you're nasty.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. We also do a tarot reading at the end of every episode for a little bit of deeper insight into our topic, like pumpkin butts.
Ooh. Are we talking about pumpkin booties today? Sexy little pumpkin booties?
You're going to have to tell me.
For those of you that aren't watching the video, I have a little pumpkin booty pin on my mic. So.
That she does.
That's where that's coming from.
And I have McGruff. He's not quite at the right angle in this shot. I'm now realizing.
Oh, no, yeah.
But he's there.
He takes a bite out of crime. Is that his slogan? Or is
that he does? Okay. Yeah, I think that's exactly what it says on the pin. Yeah.
It's too small for me to read from here.
Well, that's fair.
Well, unfortunately, today is not about pumpkin booties, but we do have some fun stuff to talk about.
Like what?
And first, we're going to do a little something fun.
Okay.
And we're going to do some Patreon shout outs.
Yay!
So we have 2 new tarot biddies at the $5 tier.
Wow.
Jeannie, who we know from Creepy People Chronicles, she wrote us in a story.
And then she was like, I am going to subscribe.
Yes.
Love that for you, Jeannie.
Thank you, Jeannie. We loved your story. We loved your follow-up email that we'll probably read some of on the next Creepy People Chronicles.
Definitely.
So stay tuned for that.
Mm-hmm.
And we also have Maria at the Tarot Biddy tier. Hi, Maria. Welcome. Do you do tarot? You have to let us know.
Also, Maria, it's occurring to me that we may need your updated mailing address. So not to dox anyone, but if you could update your profile on Patreon.
If you want
fantastic.
Some people opt out of they don't want mail for some reason.
There is an address included. It's just I'm not able to get things to go to there. So
okay.
Maria.
I did notice though there are a couple of our Patreon members that don't have addresses and they click the little opt out thing, which is fine. But if you ever want to change your mind, you'll have to send us a little message and let us know that you changed your mind. Because I don't know if Patreon will let us know.
Yeah, they're really not great about that, if I'm being honest.
Public service announcement. Patreon service announcement.
Oh, I like that. Yeah. No, they really don't let anyone know about anything.
Yeah.
That's important. They do send us a lot of newsletters.
Yes. So if you want to, if you have something to say, if you need to say something to us, there is a message button on Patreon that you can send us a little private message.
You also have access to us via email. And our website even lets you leave voicemails.
Yes. We need more freaking voicemail stories.
I know.
Those were really fun. I really want more of those, you guys. So if you have a story, we would love to hear it.
Yeah. And you can let us know whether or not you want us to use the audio that you're submitting.
Yeah.
If you just prefer telling us the story that way, that's okay. And if you don't want us to use the audio, just, let us know that. That's totally okay.
We're here for you. We'll do pretty much whatever you want.
Yeah, it's true. Except for feet pics.
Oh, I was like, if you're on Patreon, you get our feet though. We were on the same wavelength here.
No free feet.
She paid for the whole year, so she is stuck with us for a year.
So committed. You know who else is so committed?
Who?
Clint.
Oh,
yeah.
Committed Clint?
Committed Clint.
Not committed in the bad way.
Right. No, just like commitment. Also that, no, you know what?
Clint?
He has subscribed at the Creepy People tier for a whole ass year.
Whole ass year of a whole ass lot of us.
Mm-hmm. For better or for worse. Commitment Clint.
Thank you guys. We appreciate everyone who helps support us because it helps tremendously in the production of this podcast.
Yeah.
Which we need help with.
Yeah. Mama needs a new boom arm.
Yeah. Yeah. We got some exciting things coming. Yeah.
We do. We just got some very exciting equipment. I don't even want to tell them.
We're not
going to tell them yet.
It's a surprise.
But it's exciting. And it was expensive.
Yes. Thank you for your help.
Yes.
So today we're going to talk about some spooky fun things to do in the Pacific Northwest.
What?
That's a thing I like to do. This is our 3rd year now of doing it. I just like to tell you about fun, like Halloween-y, spooky season things that you can do right here in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah.
And we're going to start off with something in Hood River, which I had saved since we did the Hood River episode.
Okay.
When I found this, and it seems really fucking cool.
Oh, I'm excited.
They have a Hood River Halloween train ride.
That sounds so cool.
It sounds so cute and quaint.
Yes. Oh, we love anything quaint.
Yes, we do. It is Mount Hood Railroad's Phantom of the Rail.
Oh.
And they're doing it this year on October 25th and 26th. So you still have time. If there's tickets left, you'll have to go see.
Okay.
My funny typo here was I wrote the 25th and the 265th, which is not a day in October.
Sure isn't. But, I applaud the effort. She loves spooky season so much. She was trying to add another 200-ish days.
To October. That's fine.
I mean,
a whole year of October. Let's do this.
Let's do this.
They're also doing the train ride on the 30th and 31st. So they have like 4 days. Sorry. 4 days of the spooky train ride.
Well, it's like 2 weekends.
Yeah.
So 2 days on 2 separate weekends. I was going to ask because I thought it was kind of interesting that you would do the 25th and the 26th, but not All Hallows Eve.
But that is the reason I didn't say weekends is because the 30th and 31st are Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah.
I think the 25th and 26th are Friday, Saturday. So you have options.
Right. Yeah.
And I didn't really see any specific info on what actually happens this year on the train ride. But I found a traveloregon.com article from 2022 or 23. It said 2022 updated in 2023.
Oh, interesting.
So I assume it's from 2022.
Yeah.
That says it's a night ride through the forest with Halloween-themed narration.
Ooh, spooky.
I know. And this particular year, 2022, had a thriller flash dance performance. And it sounded like that was at, not like in the train itself, but they made a stop at like a creepy factory area. And they did like a thriller flash dance.
Yes, because you have to have the appropriate backdrop.
Yeah. And the appropriate amount of space.
Right.
For the
you
dancing.
Know, the moving and the shaking.
I love how this is my thriller dance, you guys. This is how it's done, right?
A derivative of that, if you will.
I don't have the appropriate space.
Yeah,
so.
No, that's true. It's not the appropriate. This is not the proper acoustics for you to make this request of me.
I thought you were going to go the other way. Like, we don't have room for the activities.
I mean, yes, that is what he is saying. Don't have the space, don't have the
yeah, just things aren't right. No. They're only good for podcasting, sitting still at a desk.
Right.
Which is what we're doing. They do also have food and drink available for pre-purchase.
I heard food and drink.
Food and drink.
Yes.
And the Halloween train contains content that is geared toward mature audiences. Writer discretion is advised.
Free feet?
Free spooky feet. Actually, you have to pay, so it's not free, but...
Well, right, but once you're on the ride,
right,
the feet are free.
The spooky feet are free.
Okay.
They do recommend 13 and up.
Okay.
They also have a VIP option, which is called Poison RIP, which I don't really want to get poison on a train, but
no.
This sounds like good poison because it involves booze.
Oh, delicious.
So you get to ride in a luxury car with a private bartender.
Ooh.
And it comes with a complimentary snacky and a non-alcoholic beverage. So you can have a little normal drinky along with your poison.
Something to wet your whistle.
Yes, wet our whistle. Weren't we just talking about that?
Yeah, we were. And I was like, why do you sound like my grandpa?
I am a dad/grandpa on the inside.
Yeah. For sure.
Additional food and beverage available for purchase.
Okay.
So that's all I have about the train. It looks really fun. I would love to do it, but I get like kind of motion sick. So I'm not sure how I would take a train ride.
I feel like trains are pretty low impact. I get car sick if I try to read a long text message in a car. And I feel like I generally do okay on trains.
I don't know. I've been on the Max and I get sick on the Max. And if I'm facing forward, it's better.
I feel like it's a more constant motion. Facing in the correct direction is very important. I will say, don't ever, for the love of God, get on the channel going from Paris to London.
I won't.
Hungover, a red wine hangover, and then pick the seat that faces the opposite way of the direction you're traveling.
Don't do that. Yeah, I feel like I'm getting sick, like thinking about that.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think I am also having PTSD. I mean, I'm just saying, and not me personally, just like a friend,
I think
me. I'm the friend.
Moral of the story is maybe we won't get on a train, or we'll have to test it out before we pay money to go on this fancy spooky train ride. Yeah. But we'll see.
Definitely
maybe
make sure you got a settled tum-tum.
Yeah. Do you want to move on to something really fun that I just learned about?
Okay.
This is exciting. None of this is scary, you guys. This is spooky fun, okay?
I've been lied to before, okay?
Trust me.
I've been hurt before.
Have you seen Practical Magic?
Obviously.
One of our favorite movies. Love fucking Practical Magic. And I learned something very recently that I had no idea about. And I was so fucking excited, you guys. I have to take a drink. I'm so excited.
Oh my God. Well, don't leave us hanging.
I want to see your little feet kick in. Not really. The downtown scenes in Practical Magic were filmed in a little seaside town called Coupeville, Washington. Coupeville? Does that sound right to you?
Yeah.
It's Coupeville.
Yeah,
Coupeville.
Okay.
Yeah. On Whidbey Island.
Yeah.
Did you know this?
I did.
Did you find this out this year like me, or did you already know?
I don't think I previously knew. I think I stumbled upon this a few weeks ago.
This popped up in my Google, where it has like suggestions of things of like articles to click. And I was like, oh, Practical Magic. And I was like, no fucking way.
I think that's exactly what happened to me too.
It's so funny. I wonder how many other people this happened to, but.
Well, I will say.
Don't say anything because that's in my episode.
You don't even know what I was going to say.
Okay.
No, I went to Raven's Manor.
Oh, okay. I thought
last night. We went for Chris's birthday to celebrate for also his mom and his brother. Some fun life events that are going on for them. Whoop, 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 whoop.
Yeah.
And so we went to Raven's Manor. We did the photo booth.
Oh, fun. I haven't done the photo booth yet because it was like pretty new when we went last and then we forgot about it.
Oh, yeah. I specifically told Chris, I was like, don't let me forget about the photo booth.
Yeah. I want to do that.
We did that. And then also there is a tequila tasting experience.
Oh.
Named, I don't know, something about Sanderson Sisters.
Oh, like my shirt. That's funny. I'm wearing
here.
There we go. Why would they name the tequila after the Sanderson sisters?
Midnight Margaritas.
That's a different movie.
I know, but I feel like it's just a vibe.
But like, why wouldn't they name it Midnight Margaritas? Like,
I don't know. It's Sanderson sisters. And yeah, they took all of the witchiness and they're just like, and they smashed it together.
In like a Play-Doh ball of a bunch of different colors.
They brought it out to us. And I do have several short, fun video clips and some photos. We're going to have to put something together.
Cute.
Share with the people.
So cute.
So cute. Anyways, I'm so sorry.
That bothers me now, though, that they named it Sanderson Sisters and not after.
I know. I was like,
Magic.
Sanderson. I was like, wait.
It's funny, though, that I'm wearing the shirt.
Yeah.
It all connects.
It all connects.
So back to real practical magic and not the Sanderson sisters. We are, what is their name? What's their last name in there?
Oh, God. Okay, I'll look.
Who knows?
Owens?
Owens. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Owens sisters.
The Owens sisters. I was like, I know this comes up. Part of you starts to doubt it when you start to try to think of it and you can't quite.
Yeah. Get your nail on the head.
Yeah.
Okay, back to the Owens sisters. So all of the buildings in this little seaside town were painted white for the filming of Practical Magic.
Oh, that's interesting.
I know, but they have since repainted them back to their original colors, so they're not all white. But I thought that was like kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I never really noticed in the film that all of the buildings were white.
Are they supposed to be in the Pacific Northwest in the movie?
No, I think they're like on the East Coast.
That's exactly. I was like, I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be like based in the East Coast, right? I think the white buildings on the coast, that's way more like it to me, the white buildings along the eastern seaboard, like
that's a thing.
Yeah. I feel like it's not as much of a thing here on the West Coast.
Yeah.
So it makes sense because they're like, we're just trying to make this coast look like that coast.
You should Google real quick where it was set because I always just assumed it was East Coast because witches.
I did too. Yeah.
And never really thought about it being connected to Pacific Northwest. So I wonder like why they shot it here. Things I should have looked up while I was researching this episode.
New England. Yeah,
okay.
We're not right.
Okay.
But actually filmed in Washington State.
Oh,
Whidbey
so cool.
Island, to be exact.
Ah.
Yay. Okay.
We'll talk a little bit more about this. So
yay. I love it.
Should
we have tequila?
Yeah, let's go get tequila right now. Let's go get some midnight margaritas. This next part, like, slightly crushed my little creepy heart.
No.
Like when we talked about the Beetlejuice house.
Uh-oh.
So there is a lot of movie houses that I'm totally in love with, but the freaking Practical Magic house is like my all-time favorite. I feel like it's everyone's
Oh no, what happened to it?
The Practical Magic house was right here in the Pacific Northwest as well, on San Juan Island.
Yep. Uh-huh.
Unfortunately, it was just a shell built for the filming and then taken down. Sense. So it was not a real house.
Do we know which of the San Juan Islands that it was
on San Juan Island. Okay. So I don't know, like.
There is a I believe there is a San Juan, but there's like a strip of islands that are all categorized as like the San Juan Islands. Like there's Orcas.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was trying to like kind of Google it and I was like, I don't know.
You're like, geography.
Yeah. But so I don't know exactly where, but it's not there anymore. I think is probably why I gave up trying to figure it out. But
yeah, you're like, I don't care anymore.
It's not real. Although the interior of the home was also just a set, it was modeled after a real home located on San Juan Valley Road. So it was modeled after a real house, the interior anyway.
I love it.
So while I was researching this, I actually stumbled upon a little blog by our friend Amy in the PNW.
Stop it.
I know. This is what I thought you were going to say earlier. I thought you said that you'd seen her post about it or something.
No, I think I saw it somewhere else.
So yeah, Amy did a little blog post about this, and in her blog post it says they just announced summer of 2024 that Practical Magic 2 is being filmed.
Really?
And Amy will keep updating her blog as things unfold. So I will put a link to her blog in there. So keep an eye on that. And then there's more info and pictures because she actually goes to these places and takes pictures herself. So if you want to see pictures of that, go to her blog, check it out. Super cute.
We're going to be doing some more field trips coming up now.
Yeah, we have some stuff.
So much free time now that I'm done being a wedding coordinator.
Yeah. We can go crazy. We're hitting the town.
The town. Painting it red and or white.
Yeah, I was going to say and or white. This town actually still celebrates every year with a Practically Magic movie night.
Love it.
I know. So fucking cute. And this year it's October 24th, 25th, and 26th. And when I went to the site, I saw this adorable picture of one of the buildings. It's Aqua Gifts in the photo.
Yeah.
And it has like the outline of the witches on the roof, like when they have their little umbrellas and they go to jump off. They have that little picture on there. Oh, it's so
I'm
cute.
tea kettling.
Oh. Very fitting for the day. What's your shirt say?
Oh yeah, I'm just here for the tea.
What's behind me?
Teacup. It's so weird.
I know, weird. Maybe we'll talk about that later.
As soon as I came back in here, you're like, you changed into that? And I was like, I mean, I'm wearing it, aren't I? I never know. And I got all the way to my closet and it's like 50 feet that way. I didn't want to come back and ask you, like, what am I supposed to wear to be on theme? And
you don't even need to ask, it turns out.
Telepathically, we're like, something with tea?
What does your shirt say? Did we say it out loud?
I'm just here for the tea.
Sometimes we forget you can't see us all the time.
We'll go to YouTube's.
Yes. Go to YouTube's to see us.
The YouTube's and or the Patreon.
So along with the screening of the movie Practical Magic, there is a costume contest, trivia and filming anecdotes, music and popcorn, and of course, midnight margaritas.
Yes!
They happen all night, not just at midnight. And they do a beer and wine in case you don't want a margarita, but you should. The town, of course, has fun, spooky events that aren't movie related. So if you want to just go there and hang out and do their other spooky stuff, you can.
Why?
Well, these are cool, though. They have a torchlight parade and street dance on October 26th. And the Great Coopville Pumpkin Race on the 27th.
Oh, that's fun.
Like they just, what do they do? Roll their pumpkins? I don't know how it works.
I'm guessing.
If you don't, want to visit Coopville, if it's like too cute for you, you can go to Hillsboro, which we've
never heard of it.
I know. Who? Which is a suburb of Portland, kind of. And there is a witchy shop there that we've talked about before. We've had them on the pod through the Veil. And on 10:30, they're having a family-friendly Samhain celebration. And they're doing s'mores around the fire, sipping cider and or hot cocoa while a kid-friendly movie is playing. Kid-friendly Halloween movie. It's like Casper or something, kid-friendly.
Which is perfect because if it's kid-friendly, that means I can watch it.
But if you don't care about kids, if you don't have kids, whatever, there is an adult Samhain celebration on the 31st on Halloween, ages 16 and up. So their website says to join us around the fire while the veil is at its thinnest as we honor and communicate with, those who have crossed to the other side. They will also be having a lantern dance performance by the PDX Dancing Witches.
That sounds so cool.
I know. It sounds so fun. So they also have an ancestor altar where you can bring photos or something to represent a loved one who has crossed over. And they'll also have offerings and candles to light. So if you want to go and do kind of like what this holiday is really about, they have that option for you.
Oh, I love it.
Speaking of Through the Veil, I went to one of their tea leaf reading classes the other day. It was so freaking fun and cute. And you get to keep your little teacup that you use.
So pretty.
Mine has like bugs on it and stuff. And I just thought it was so cute and appropriate for me.
Yes.
And the tea I got is called Going No Contact Tea.
Shut the fuck up.
Do you want to sniff it?
Yeah.
Let me sniff it. It is, oh God, it's going to be like too small for me to read.
Yeah,
it is,
I'll read it.
Okay, yeah, you do it. It's on the side there.
Okay.
It smells so good.
Only the finest ingredients, medium caffeine content. And it is black tea, orange and tangerine pieces, calendula, safflower, marigold, sunflower petals, and that's it. Natural flavors, caffeine.
So good though. Oh my gosh. And then so you like they teach you how, so these are classes. So she'll teach you how to do this stuff so you can do it on your own at home. But I just thought I got the most interesting shapes. I got like, I thought it was a bat at first, but it was more like a butterfly shape or a moth or something. It smells so good. I got like a snake shape. I got some other cool things. I took pictures of it, but then there was like these 2 sunflower petals with like 2 little orange pieces, both sitting in, and I don't know why, it just like reminded me of like me and you like on a plane, like traveling somewhere.
Oh,
I know.
We're going to travel.
And we are. So I don't know. I thought that was cute, but I got pretty good pictures of the shapes and stuff that were in my cup.
Did you read this quote?
No, I didn't read because it's hard to read the little writing.
But did you read it, period?
No, I didn't read anything on that. What does it say?
It is the kindest act of self-preservation, self-love, and self-care.
Oh,
it is how we can heal our trauma.
So true.
Merchants of nostalgia. Life has become busy. It's time to slow down and savor. A portion of the proceeds support suicide awareness.
Oh, I love that. That's so funny. Yesterday, I went to the Out of the Darkness walk, which is suicide awareness and prevention. Interesting.
There's more. It's very tiny, so I see why you...
Yeah.
It's not easy going no contact, but we get it. This tea will help you in times of guilt and post-gaslighting.
Oh, it's so perfect for me. It's interesting because so they have a bunch of those. Like she had like at least 20 or 30 teas sitting out.
Yeah.
And I just kind of like, and then like I grabbed that one and instantly like the imagery on it is like there's crows and like a creepy girl with black hair. Like, is she like kind of doll-like? And so I was like, oh, this one's probably like gonna be my tea. Like I just felt like how I draw tarot. I just grab it. And then I kept reading the ingredients. I sniffed it. I was like, this is perfect. This is my tea. I didn't even really like look through all the teas. I just kind of intuitively grabbed that one.
That's really interesting. I'm going to Google something really quick before I share. Okay.
Just so you guys know, all of the teas are available for sale at Through the Veil. They're not a sponsor. We just love them and they love us.
Cassie, do you know where this tea came from?
No, I didn't read the bottle.
That's also very small. Montana.
Oh.
Oddly enough, Eureka, Montana.
Interesting.
I didn't even know there was a Eureka in Montana. I thought that was our thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Is there just Eurekas all over the state?
I think so.
I'm going to put my tea back here.
It's in Lincoln County. Okay, interesting. Oh, wow. It's basically in Canada.
Oh, wow. Hey, Canada.
Hey, girl. Hey. Like it's 9 miles south of the Canada U.S. border.
Still, so it's PNW. Totally. Montana.
Basically, yeah.
We just did an episode on Montana.
That's why I brought it up.
Lived in Montana.
Yeah.
Weird.
Eureka, Montana. Who knew?
Who knew? We know
Who knew?
now.
Surrounded by a national forest and on the backside of Glacier National Park.
Ooh.
We love Glacier.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Is there a lot of glaciers?
Yeah. Glacier's just beautiful. It's a beautiful national park.
Oh.
Yeah.
Thanks for reading that. That's cool. I just didn't even take the time to read the bottle.
No, I know. I mean, all of this print is so tiny. And I just I kept turning and I kept seeing things that felt like they held a little bit of meaning. And then all of a sudden I'm like, Montana Pharmacy. And then I'm realizing the rest of this is an address. And
cool.
It's Eureka, Montana.
That is all for that is all I have. But right after this, there is going to be an interview with Margaret from Friends of Lone Fir. And we're going to talk about some of the fun tours and stuff that they have going on, not just during spooky season, but all year. And if you missed the Lone Fir episode that we did, you can go and search Lone Fir Cemetery. I'll probably link it for you too,
I was going to say we can link to it in the show notes.
But I also I like to tell people, remind people they can actually search for episodes, because I kind of forget and I'm like, oh well, let me just scroll this until I find let's scroll through these 200 episodes. And
yeah, for sure. Yeah, it might take you a minute.
Because sometimes, I can only link to one thing, and usually it's just our website. So if you want to listen on Apple or something, you're going to have to probably search for her. So
True. Yeah.
So stay tuned for that. Right after this, Caitlyn has one more thing she wants to talk about. And then I think after the interview, we're just going to pull a card for spooky season. Just spooky season fun. So it'll be at the end of the episode, just like any other. We'll be back.
Okay. So I think we've talked about this on the pod. Remind me if this sounds like not something anyone is going to be familiar with. Okay. But I'm pretty sure we've talked about the pumpkin that I won when I was a kindergartner. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, please don't tell me that I am thinking I've told this story and I've just told it before and in different situations.
Yes.
And nobody's going to know what I'm talking about.
No, you did. And you said that you would try to find a picture, but I don't think you ever did.
I could never find one. Yeah. At some point, I'll probably just have to go and rummage through bins on bins on bins at my mom's house. But
one day we'll show it to you guys if we find it.
If I can track it down, that bitch is yours. But this pumpkin that I'm currently looking at makes my pumpkin look a little bitch.
Really?
Yes. Okay, so I found this article and I just was like, we have to pay respect to the great enormous pumpkins of, yesteryear. And
we like big pumpkins around here and pumpkin booties.
So the article is entitled "Enormous Oregon-Grown Pumpkin Wins National Pumpkin Way Off."
Oh, national. Damn, girl.
She
Oregon on the map. Yeah, what is she?
She thick.
2 C's.
That's right. In a battle to grow the heaviest pumpkin in the nation, a massive pumpkin grown in Oregon was crowned the winner on Saturday. So this article is dated 10/4. I'm guessing it was the weekend prior to this. So the last weekend of September.
Well, you said,
yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah,
I was
the article was dated from
2 days
yesterday.
ago. What are you talking about?
Or 10/4 was 2 days ago. So, okay. The first place pumpkin, nicknamed Hank the Tank, was grown by Jim Sherwood of Malino.
Wow.
I know. Who told Coin 6 News the pumpkin took 108 days to grow before entering the 2024 National Pumpkin Way Off at Bishop's Pumpkin Farm in Wheatland, California. Okay, so I just need you to remember that this pumpkin came from Malino, Oregon. Okay.
Where is that?
It's in the direction of like Oregon City, Canby, out that way. Before I tell you how much this fucker weighed. Okay. My pumpkin weighed less than after the comma. There's a comma.
Oh my gosh.
In the end, Hank the Tank weighed in at 2,453 pounds. Pretty sure my pumpkin weighed 367, and it was the most enormous piece of produce I'd ever seen.
How big?
Cassie,
2,000?
I will show you the picture. You are going to absolutely shit your brain through your ear. It is ridiculous. Ridiculous. I kind of thought this was a fake prop pumpkin. This is a real pumpkin. What? Yeah. After 23 years growing giant pumpkins, you can sum up this year by saying old dogs really can learn new tricks, Sherwood said. This was my first year growing in a greenhouse.
Oh.
And I really focused on networking with other top growers, sharing tips and growing methods. And it certainly paid off.
Wow.
Okay, Cassie, I am going to airdrop this article to you. And just be prepared for your brain to leave your skull.
I'm ready. My brain is not home at the moment, but I'm so ready. Oh my God.
Can you believe that?
It's so big. Like, how does this even happen?
I don't know.
And it only took like 100 and what? How many days?
I think he said 100. Okay, so let's see. The first place pumpkin, nicknamed blah, 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 Hank the Tank, took 108 days to grow before entering the 2024 National Pumpkin Weigh-Off. So I'm wondering if it kept growing after he entered.
Oh. I don't know. I just feel like that doesn't seem like enough days to get this big of a pumpkin. I don't know.
Well, that's just it. Is like he's obviously using all of the tips and the tricks and trying to get her roll thick.
What kind of steroids are you pumping in this pumpkin, man?
He's pumping that pumpkin full of all of the human growth hormone that like I probably should have been given so that I would reach an average height.
Yeah, this pumpkin looks like it's roid raging all over the place.
Honestly, I feel like if I stood next to it.
You're not even as big as the stem.
Well, listen, okay, it's not that tall. When it's horizontal like this, I'm still taller than the pumpkin. If she could stand upright, she would.
That's tall.
That would be different. That would be different.
Well, what a great addition to this episode that you added. Thank you, Caitlyn. That was great.
I literally was just thinking, I was like, oh, maybe we'll do like a little Patreon bonus because we, do like fun little like newspaper articles and things that like, just whatever, just something that would be fun to share. And I thought, oh, you know what? While I'm thinking of it, so I don't forget, and then we just never share it. And so I mean, do with it what you will.
I like it. I love that. I love big things.
It's very on brand with your pumpkin butt.
My pumpkin butt. I was looking at this because it's like orange. What's her butt? What's her name?
One of the Sanderson sisters.
Winifred.
Oh, okay.
Winifred with the pumpkin hair.
I feel like the actresses' names come to the front of my head, and then I'm like, I don't think she was named Sarah.
That was this one.
That
Sarah.
was, yeah.
Mary, Winifred. Yeah. Mary, Kathy Najimy. She's gonna be in I don't know why I said. She's gonna be in St. Helens this year for the Spirit of Halloween Town. I think I posted like a little story on it.
Love it.
I can't remember the dates, but if you Google it, I'm sure you could find it. But I was like, oh, I want to go see her, but I'm so busy.
I know.
We hope you enjoyed that interview with Margaret. She was so sweet to talk to us. And she did offer to let us come to one of these sold out Tombstone tours. I can't think of how to say
Tombstone.
Yeah. It's not about Twilight. It's just at Twilight, the time of the day. It's not about toilet. But I'm really excited because they were sold out. And I was like, oh, I wanted to go. And she was so sweet to offer to let us come to one of those. So I am dragging Caitlyn to a cemetery, you guys. I finally did it.
I'm going to the cemetery.
She's going to the cemetery. Her comfort item, Chris, is allowed to go. I did have to ask for her.
My companion husband.
I did. When I talked about him, I called him your comfort item and our tech guy. So.
Yeah. I mean, he does help us a lot technologically, especially when we travel. So
yes.
Oh boy.
And that's not the only tour that we're going to be going on this spooky season. And that's all I'm saying about that. You'll have to wait.
Okay. I was going to say, are we telling them or?
No, we're not telling them yet. That's going to be its own episode. I'm pretty sure. So stay tuned.
I'm so excited.
How many times have I said stay tuned this episode? Just like keep listening to us.
Keep doing it. Please share us with your friends.
Please. Okay, I am here with Margaret, and I just wanted to ask you quickly how you are affiliated with the Lone Fir Cemetery.
So I'm a part of a nonprofit 501c3 organization called Friends of Lone Fir Cemetery. And I've been involved in that organization for about 12 years.
Oh,
the
wow.
The organization has been around since 2000. We're going to hit our 25-year anniversary next year as an organization. We had high hopes for our 20th anniversary, but then the pandemic hit.
Oh, of course.
We had to put a big pin in that, which is a huge bummer. So I'm kind of looking forward to next year for that. But I've been around for, like I said, 12 years. Next year will be lucky number 13. And I got involved just doing headstone workshops. And then I segued over into doing tours. And then I got on the board and, I took over all the social media. So I do all of that. I do all the communication. I do all the sort of press release stuff. I do stuff like this. I was on KPTV last week. So I make sure that we're, getting the publicity that we need to some extent. We're a pretty small, rough and tumble group. So we're not a huge organization, a huge nonprofit, but we do our best. So we just try to procure volunteers and stewardship within the cemetery. So it's,
What got you interested in volunteering and working with a cemetery?
I've always loved cemeteries. It's always been a thing of mine. I went to Tour of Untimely Departures, which is a annual, semi-annual, whatever event that the organization had put on. It had put on years before I joined, and I was really into it. Then I started to go to some of the regular tours. I got really into that, and then I went to headstone workshops, and it just started to evolve. From there, I was like, I want to be a part of what this organization is doing. I really want to create stewardship. I wanted to volunteer. So it kind of checked a lot of boxes for me.
Yeah.
So I'm really into Portland history. So not just the history of of cemeteries and being a taphophile or whatever. It's also, I'm really into Portland history. And I think the birth of Portland history most things can be circled back to Lone Fir Cemetery.
That's interesting that you say the birth of it could be because it's a place of death.
Right.
But it's like death and birth. There's so much nature in the cemetery. It's like you're walking through like a nature park. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, a lot of cemeteries back in the day, that the architecture, I mean, that cemetery in particular, Lone Fir, wasn't really architecturally designed, maybe let's say in the way that Riverview or other cemeteries like Greenwood or any of the Magnificent Seven over in London. They were architecturally designed to be like parks. So they were treated as such. They were designed as such. Lone Fir Cemetery was a little more, less intentional than that. It was really just a pioneer cemetery that grew into what you see it being today. But back in the day, the intention of cemeteries were to be treated like parks. So that's why, the trees and all the design and stuff. So it creates a massive green space within the city. Cemeteries along with parks, they actually lower the heat
Oh, yeah.
in urban areas, yeah, just from all the trees and such. So
That makes a
yeah.
lot of sense. It's amazing to me that it started there was just like the one tree there, the lone
Yeah,
fir, and then now it's
yeah,
this.
but it wasn't originally called Lone Fir Cemetery. It was called
r-
Mount Crawford Cemetery, and then prior to that, it was just the land claim from the Stevens. So, they
Yeah.
came over on the Oregon Trail, got their land claim, and, it was very traditional to take the utmost, least productive corner of your property and bury your family there. Fun fact, Emmer, when they came over, he's the oldest, how do I phrase this? The earliest born person. He was born in 1777, 76, something like that. He didn't last very long in town after they came over. He passed away. He was older, and they buried him there. There's some dispute even whether that's even the Stevens Land Claim Act or not, because the lines were so fuzzy. When they
Oh,
parceled out the land and did all that, you were supposed to do it on, I want to say, on low tide, and he did it on high tide. So it expanded the Stevens land claim. So there's probably only amongst nerds dispute on whether Emmer was actually even buried on the Stevens property or not.
oh, wow, that is so interesting. I had no
I mean, no
idea.
one's gonna do anything about it,
Right,
but
right.
it's like just on the precipice of being another land claim act. And so
Yeah.
that block one over there where that road is, that's really the original part of the cemetery. So, because that's the original entrance to the cemetery, was that side. It
Oh,
wasn't
is it?
20, it wasn't 26. It was that corner.
Is there an entrance there now, or it's just it's gated off?
No, the entrance is now on 26 and
Okay.
on 20th. So those were more the sort of both entrances. There was at one point like a little gate because no one lived on the east side of the river, right? To the point where JB Stevens became the mayor of East Portland. Like he's like, I'm going to take over and build a life and do all these things. They thought he was crazy. So that original street wasn't called Stark. It was called Baseline. And what would happen is because he was a ferryman, they would like ferry folks over and then take them up that road and go some switchback stairs and go up into Block 1 if you were to be buried there. And then the cemetery grew after that. And, after Mount Crawford. And so once you get over to that line, you go over to that next section, you'll see there's the Lone Fir. But it wasn't called Lone Fir Cemetery originally because there was no Lone Fir.
Yeah.
I mean, there was probably, but just not on that particular property. As it expanded, it engulfed certain trees and things because there wasn't a lot of trees on the east side of the river
I'm glad there
or
is
in the
now.
cemetery. Yeah. I always tell people the number one culprit for all the trees everywhere is one particular thing: squirrels.
The squirrels.
The squirrels.
I saw a lot of them. I actually was at the cemetery yesterday at the nature
Oh, cool.
journaling club.
Yeah, we've got some different stuff going on over there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was so much fun, and there was just squirrels all over, and then all of a sudden this like big nut falls from the tree right in front of me, and I was like, oh, well, I'll just throw it to the squirrels. They loved me after that, and I was like, well,
Yeah.
I don't have them on my person. You can't keep asking for nuts. It came out of the
Yeah.
tree.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
cute.
it's pretty fun to hang out in cemeteries. Like I said, if you were to look up old pictures, there's a really old picture online of Riverview from, I want to say, like the late 1800s, early 1900s of a family picnicking there. So the properties were designed for it. So it's nice to see people admiring and appreciating the nature of the space. It's what
Yeah.
we want. Yeah.
Yeah, without like it doesn't always have to be a creepy thing like, "Ooh, we're going to the cemetery. We're
Not
gonna
at
do a
all. It's beautiful.
seance." Like, please don't light
Yeah.
candles and do a seance in the cemetery.
Yeah. I mean, people have different perspectives and takes on cemeteries, but certainly it can be tranquil. It can be nice. It can be beautiful. There's a rose garden in Lone Fir Cemetery. There's all kinds of trees. The Bird Alliance of Oregon, I have to remember to get the name right because they're no longer the Audubon Society, do their annual bird count at Lone Fir because there's so many different birds that migrate and
Oh,
hang out in
wow.
yeah.
The
At any given point, you can see all different kinds of birds in there.
the crows were loud yesterday. They were like
They were. We
wanting
did
to
our
be heard.
Yeah, we were there Friday, and there was a lot of yapping from the crows.
Yeah.
We were there on Friday doing a rehearsal for the tours that we got coming up this month. So it was quite loud to try and talk over that, but
Yeah.
it's still neat though.
That's a little segue into kind of my next question was I wanted to ask about the tours, what kind of tours you guys do. And I saw that you might be sold out of the
We are sold out.
oh,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, but we still want to talk about them so that
Yeah.
people maybe next year can get a jump on getting their tickets.
Yeah. Or just come out to our regular tours. So we do, I'll just kind of dial it back. So we do monthly tours. So every first Saturday, we do a tour called Stories in Stone. And the intention of that tour is to really not have it be so much historical or chronological of the goings-ons of Lone Fir. It's really the unique space that Lone Fir is, some of the artistic headstones, some of the meanings of some of the headstones and the different art and the different representation and woodmen of the world, or, hey, this headstone means this is some Victorian art. So we talk a little bit about that to capture just sort of what would be kind of like the rest of the cemetery, for lack of a better phrase. And then the second Saturday is our historical tour. And so we really want to educate people. It's part of our tenet as a nonprofit within our mission is to educate people, because I really feel like if more people are educated, they'll have a kinship and a stewardship to the property, and they're not only less likely to vandalize it. I feel like a lot of vandalism is unintentional. Like people hang out there, they want to party, I don't know what they want to do, and they accidentally knock things over, or they bring their dog into the cemetery or whatever, and then so on and so forth. But I think you're more likely to covet the space and create stewardship if you're pretty invested in either cleaning it or maintaining it, or the history of it. So we do that. The third Saturday is April through September. We do headstone workshops where we teach folks how to clean the headstones, get some help, volunteer help to go out through the cemetery and clean some up. And then the fourth Saturday, and the tours are all year long, is our women's tour. So we just talk and highlight the prominent women that are buried throughout Lone Fir Cemetery. And then every October, we try to do something interesting or fun. So in years past, we did a tour, and we still do a tour called Tour of Untimely Departures. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of investment. If we decided we're going to do that tour, we decided in like January and February, pretty early in the year.
Oh, wow.
Because it takes so many volunteers. It takes so much of what we do to put that on. We have 1,200 people that walk through the cemetery between 5 and 9.
Oh, my
4 hours. Tours leave every 8 minutes. And it's just a lot. It's a lot of coordination. It's a lot of event management, things that are in and outside of our wheelhouse, right? We're a nonprofit wanting to do modest tours, educate people Lone Fir, and all of a sudden we've got this really large, massive event. That's just a lot of work. So we don't do it every year because of that. So it doesn't allow us to focus on other things. Like if we had done Tour of Untimely Departures this year, we may not have introduced the women's tour, which is a newer tour this year, or the journal club, which is on Sundays by a volunteer. We just don't have time to ingratiate other things. And so anyways,
yeah.
Since people tend to ask, I have a little speech about why we don't do it every year. But then we try to go, well, a couple years, this is the third time we've done Tombstone Twilight. We thought, well, let's do something a little less. Still something cool, but a little more dialed down, volunteer-wise, dialed down. We're not getting tents and blocking out the street, doing it at night. Do it right at twilight. We'll do it right at dusk. Because it's a pretty cool vibe. If you go into the cemetery now about 5:30, 6, right around now, it's a little darker in the cemetery than it is everywhere else just because of the trees.
Yeah.
And it really is a cool, really neat vibe. So we're like, let's do something then. Less permitting because it's not at night, whatever. We're not going to close down the cemetery. Let's do it. And the couple of times we did it was really successful. People were really into it. So then this year, since last year was pretty successful with Tour of Untimely Departures, we're like, okay, we're not going to do, for acronym for us, we're not going to do TUD this year. Let's do this. But the biggest complaint that we get isn't just that we don't do TUD every year, is that how come you don't offer it more than one night? For all the reasons I mentioned, right? So I thought, well, let's do this tour, but let's do it every Saturday in the month of October. So this year is the first time that we've done it more than one night.
Oh, wow. So that's very new.
Every other time we've done it, it's always been like the Saturday before Halloween. We did 4 or 5 tours, 25, 30 people each tour, and we called it good. But I thought, well, if we're gonna switch it up and disappoint people, let's at least try to lean into the biggest request that we get, besides the tour itself, is to to do it more than once, which is the goal.
Well, I'm so jealous of everyone who got tickets because I did not.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's so instead of each stop, the actors, there's no actors portraying anything. It's really the tour guide. The way we're seeing it is the tour guide is like the ghost, and they're dressed up, and they're gonna. So instead of having 10 volunteers just right there on each stop, we just have the one tour guide. So we've already reduced our head count of volunteers. Doesn't make it less fun. It's less, probably a little less impactful than TUD, and it's not at night. It's still cool though. We're still excited. If anyone did any of the tours of Untimely Departures the last couple of years, we didn't repeat any of the stops. So if you feel like, oh, I went last year, I got a ticket, is it gonna be the same thing? It's not. We try really hard not to recycle that often, that you feel like you're getting something new or different.
That's awesome. Let's see. I was thinking of a question, and where did it go? It went out of my brain. Shoot.
It's okay.
I might think of it again.
But hey, like what I was getting at too is we were doing it every Saturday, but we still have our historical tours and our women's tour and all that stuff in October and November. So if folks want to come out, November has a really high turnout with tours. It's not quite cold. It's really beautiful in the cemetery with fall and the trees and leaves and stuff. So I encourage people to give that a shot. I know it's not as cool, but it is still pretty cool. It's still pretty fun. So before it gets to be super wet and dark and cold and rainy, it's a really good time to come out. And all the funds that go through for tours and events like that all go back to us as a nonprofit. So in so many ways, you're supporting us in our ability to keep the lights on, so to speak. So tour supplies or our website domain, to pay for our insurance in order to be a nonprofit, all the things that,
Do you guys do any of like the fixing up of the monuments or anything like that? Or would that be separate?
It really just depends. So sometimes we're involved. It isn't our property, it's Metro's. So I was just out there on Friday and I saw a few headstones that had been knocked over, and I will immediately send pictures over to one of the main folks, the head of the park rangers. His name is Monty Woods. Really great guy, really into what we do, very supportive of the organization. So I'm always really trying to send off information to him pretty quickly, and they'll get people to come out. It depends. It's their property. We're just sort of like in their sandbox. But if there's opportunities to support and help replace headstones or put in headstones. So Hattie Redmond's an example where she did not have a headstone. We paid for it. We put it in. We partner with an elementary school, I want to say almost 10 years ago, and they helped raise money for Gus Waterford, which is one of the first African-American firefighters in Portland. They came up with a certain amount of money. We kicked in the rest. He has a headstone now.
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
Asa Lovejoy, all of the outlining in black that you see, we've helped restore and put that back. So yeah, we try to do our very best to help support and restore when and where we can. So
do you know anything about like the Bottler Brothers mausoleum?
Yeah, the Bottler. We've done a few. Yeah, we've done a few like fundraisers for that. The problem is the Bottler, and it is what it is. Everyone shouldn't say, oh, it's a problem. Is that the family lineage is still in Portland.
Oh.
So it's really theirs, right? We can't just go in and be like, we're gonna redo it and restore it. It's really them that can do it. So their family line is still alive and well in Portland.
Oh, wow.
And so we did invite them out to a few of our events and such, but we can't just go in and make changes.
I see.
The cemetery is on the historical registry. There's just red tape and due diligence. We can't just go in and be like, we're going to improve this.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, gremlin down there.
I have a pug, so that's all I gotta say about that. And so I have two actually. So so that's kind of the deal with that. We have to be. It's their headstone. It's their property. So same for me, like personally, like the Bottler crypt is something that is really, really cool. And I would hate to have it continue to degrade. It's one of the main anchors in the cemetery. But for me, like the crown jewel, so to speak, is the McClay Mausoleum.
Yeah, that is
and
gorgeous.
So it's just at the point where it's just the A and the C on the name now.
Yeah.
And so to me, like that's the bigger concern is that mausoleum right there.
Is there any plans to get that fixed up? Oh, do you
No,
it's fun?
the family still is alive and well in
Oh,
Portland.
okay.
They became the Kerrs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they're I think the most recent burial was probably about 10 years ago inside of there. Believe it or not,
Oh.
there's still some empty spots. It's really up to them. So I don't know why or what. I don't know if they see the value, and it would be millions of dollars to get it fixed and restored.
Oh.
So that's a bigger thing, right? Where we try and let's help raise a couple $1,000s to put in a headstone. Like that's kind of where we're at. And what we try to do, we try to be a little more low key and grassroots. That would have to be really big grant writing and
Yeah.
And maybe that's something of the Lone Fir Foundation, which is a separate foundation for Lone Fir. Their biggest, they're also a nonprofit, and they're sort of an outshoot of Friends of Lone Fir. Some of the original folks from Friends of Lone Fir started the Lone Fir Foundation, but their big sort of task at hand and their focus has been Block 14.
Yes, that is a huge project that I was definitely heading towards asking you about.
Mhm.
Do you know anything about the timeline of that?
I think they might. It's hard to say because it's really, again, it's Metro's property, and they did get a bond, so there's funding for it.
Yeah.
So there was a bond that got, earmarked for that space, and I know Lone Fir Foundation has raised a lot of money for it, and they've partnered with all the appropriate folks for the space and the design. I've seen the design evolve so many times in the 10 plus years I've been involved in Lone Fir, and it's just cost and different measures and, we want a water feature, but you can't really have a water feature because someone will probably mess with it or do whatever, or who's going to maintain that. It's all about, in perpetuity. Like, let's look at this in 10 years from now, right?
Yeah.
And how will it look and who's going to maintain it, right? Will it be dilapidated? So I think they've had to reframe how it's going to look and how it's going to be so that it's a cool space. It was also going to be more of a shared space for Hawthorne's patients, but that's been more dialed back because there is more of an emphasis on the Chinese that are over there.
Yeah, which is
'cause that's
definitely
primary-
understandable. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. And so they've really wanted to make sure that they have it all. There'll be mention of it, of Hawthorne's patients, but I think the focus of the space, rightfully so, is going to be for Block 14. It's going to be the Chinese immigrants and folks that were interred there. So that, as far as I can tell, I haven't seen, we were kind of in the sidelines rooting for it. Definitely the Lone Fir Foundation, sort of the main focal group that's really kind of driven it through to the end. I want to say maybe next year. I know they've had a lot of, for lack of a better phrase, they've had a lot of community, like you can speak up, and say, hey, what do you think of this design? Or, like town hall type stuff for the community. And so, they wanted the public to be involved in what they thought it should look like. And so there's been many of that in the last year. So I don't know where we are in the stage of it, but I definitely know the money's been earmarked and we're at the finishing line for sure.
That's awesome. I can't wait for that to start. And then I don't know how long it would take them to build it, but it just seems like such a nice, peaceful sanctuary spot to go.
Yeah. Hopefully, and I don't know if this is part of it or not. This is just me being hopeful. I hope what I would like to see happen, and I know that there's a really large homeless population that has chosen Lone Fir as a site to camp out near it and all that stuff. So they have their reasonings. But I think if you ever go abroad to cemeteries in Europe and anywhere like that, or England in particular, they have actual restrooms on site. So I think if you're going to invite a public space and you're going to create something that's a park like that, it's almost park-like, it's a monument, it's a memorial. I'd love to see a physical restroom on site.
Yeah, that would be nice.
You know what I mean? Because people would stay a little longer, hang out a little longer if they felt like they could go do that. But that's not up to me. That's just a wish list.
Yeah, I definitely understand the reasons for not putting those in, but that definitely would be nice.
One of my favorite cemeteries in London actually is Brompton Cemetery. I've been there a handful of times. And you go on this one entrance and they have, not only do they have restaurants, they have a cafe.
Oh, wow.
They have their French group has a whole building where they sell their stuff. It's just a different game over there. So,
wow.
Yeah, you can have coffee and you could go, walk around and go on a tour and do all these different kinds of things. So it's like
it's adding so much more life into the
they
death.
get the lottery. They have lottery funding for their cemetery. So
we need that.
I know, right?
we did do an episode on, and I just researched stuff, from the internet. So I did read that there was a little girl's angel statue, Ada, and it was stolen, and it said it had been replaced, but then when I went to go find it, it's gone.
Yeah, she's been stolen again. I'm not sure the draw to her as to why she's stolen so often. I know, I want to say maybe 3 or 4 years ago, she was someone knocked her down. I mean, she's only like 5 or 6 years old. I don't understand. Like, and I remember I found her on the ground when I was at Lone Fir because I spent a lot of time there. No surprise. And I found her on the ground, and she's an extremely heavy little girl, the statue or the headstone. And I had hauled her over to the brick building that's on site that's near Maclay. It's called the Kerr Building, and it's because back in the day when you had a big mausoleum like that, or they didn't have perpetual care. You were in charge of maintaining your burial spot. So they had that building to help maintain that building. And so I have access to that building. It is now kind of since been damaged through trees and all that stuff, which is really sad. But I still have a key. So I just opened the gate and I put her inside there. Then fast forward a few months back, they put her back, and then she's stolen again. I don't know if we have her back or not.
Oh, that is just so sad.
But she's been stolen like 3 or 4 times. I'm not really. Yeah, again, it's really sad. She's a little girl. It's like, leave her alone.
Yeah, I know. I went and I spent some time after, because I did do the headstone cleaning. And so I went and wandered around and looked at all the headstones we'd talked about. So I spent a lot of time with her because I just felt so bad that she doesn't have her little angel statue. I don't know why I felt really drawn to her too, but maybe that's what other people are feeling.
Yeah. Or they just want really cool garden art. I don't really know. I can go on a whole like speech about vandalism and why people do that, and I don't know. We saw an uptick of it during COVID. Actually, during the pandemic, we saw an uptick of it. That just lent us to think that our presence does deter it. We don't like to think that highly of ourselves, but at the time, that was sort of the birth of Friends of Lone Fir to begin with, is to create stewardship and to minimize vandalism and to clean up the cemetery and all that. And I think if people feel there's a presence there, that they're less likely to do it. But during the pandemic, obviously we were all in lockdown, and we weren't as out there as much. And so we just started to really see vandalism kick up. And it was happening all throughout the city, so it wasn't exclusive to Lone Fir, but it's very upsetting.
It is. And
the soldier on the Soldiers Monument is pretty much destroyed, so that guy's not going back up. And that was one of the first things that Lone Fir did, was restore the soldier. He'd been knocked down before. Rebronze him, put him back up. It was one of the first things that the Friends of Lone Fir Cemetery did. So, in fact, if you go back and you look, there's a movie, not a good one, by the way, but I highly recommend watching the first 10 minutes of it and then do what you want after that. Just turn it off. But it's a movie called Body of Evidence, which is a Madonna movie. And it's filmed in Portland.
I feel like I've seen this movie.
It's totally not good, but you probably maybe at the time wasn't looking at it with the lens you're going to look at it now. So go back. I think it's free. You can watch it on any streaming, right? Or maybe even find it on YouTube or something. But she, is a woman scorned. I don't actually remember the story, but the beginning of the movie, she lives in Pittock Mansion, by the way. It's kind of funny. The house is Pittock Mansion. Then something about her husband dies, or she kills him. I don't know if that's the premise of the story or whatever, but he's buried at Lone Fir. So Lone Fir Cemetery. But if in the background of the movie, this is how nerded out we as Lone Fir people get. You can see the Soldiers Monument without the soldier, because the movie came out before Friends of Lone Fir Cemetery.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And so you can still see some of the glass in the mausoleum. It used to be, so there's that entrance point at the Maclay Mausoleum where there's the gate. On that gate, it says Kerr, because they became the Kerrs. But if you were to walk all the way around before that fence got put up, you walk all the way around, and there's a door behind there, and it leads upstairs into a chapel in the
Oh,
mausoleum,
wow. That's so
which is
cool.
no longer open to the public.
No, I can see why. It's pretty, it
Yeah,
looks like it's falling apart a little bit.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, if you want to see a good solid 10 minutes of 90s Lone Fir Cemetery, go check it out.
That is so cool. I definitely will have to look at that. I always love like when I talk about a place, I like to see like if there was any movies filmed. So I think maybe that's where I heard of it because we did do
Yeah.
Pittock Mansion. So I probably did come across.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. So a friend of mine, Tara, did a movie there. She it was called My Summer as a Goth. She did a movie there and filmed lots of it there. But I don't know. I don't really know what other. I think Grimm's a couple episodes were filmed at Lone Fir Cemetery.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So just different things that they allow and they don't allow. So
I did want to ask you about the rose garden because I didn't know that was there until I kind of was walking around looking and I was like, oh, there's like a little rose garden here.
There is, yeah. It's so it's one of the original pioneer rose gardens. So back in the day, roses are not local to Portland at all. They're not at all. They're not indigenous to Portland.
You wouldn't know it.
You would know it being that it's Rose City. So the pioneer ladies were really, really into their roses and they would bring them over. They would stick the little bits in like the thorns or the whatever. The bulbs, they would stick it in potatoes and soak the potatoes to keep them wet and to keep them alive. And then when they came over here, they would plant them. And there was a certain number, like 2 or 3 original rose gardens from the original pioneer women that came over. They're all gone except for the one in Lone Fir Cemetery.
Oh, wow. They're all gone?
Yeah.
Oh.
And then anything you hear after that, like the one at Peninsula Park or Ladd's Addition or the International Test Garden, those are all old rose gardens for sure, but not the pioneer rose gardens from back in the day.
Wow. So this one's like really special.
Yeah, it's one of the last ones. It's the last one. They all had died off. So we do have a volunteer and some groups that come out and help maintain the rose garden. It's really neat. It's a really quiet, cool space. Yeah.
It does look really well maintained. It is nice over there.
Yeah. We're excited to have it. Now, there's a little plaque there. You can read a little bit more when you walk over to it. So
I think we kind of talked about all of my questions. I do have one more though. I have to know what you think of the James and Elizabeth Stevens headstone. Do you think it's creepy or do you think it's sweet?
I think it's sweet. I don't think it's creepy.
That's what I think too.
I think that it's started to, the type of material that it is, which is like sugar marble, over time it starts to look more like weepy and the black and the we've cleaned it a few times, but that's how they made headstones back then. That's how they looked back then. They were modest, sturdy people, and
yeah,
you know what I mean? And yeah, no, I don't think it's creepy at all. I think what makes it look creepy to people is just because it's old.
Yeah.
And it takes up one full side, which the image, by the way, that's the back side of that stone, because remember, the entrance was the other side, so the inscription's the front.
Oh, that is interesting. That kind of does put like a different perspective on it a little bit.
Yeah. And J.B. Stevens would walk every day up what was Baseline to go visit her because she died before him.
I know. He wanted to hold her hand again.
Yeah.
So sad.
So the J.B. Stevens house is still in Portland. It's still, it was a residency for the longest time. It's over like on 7th. And it was originally by the waterfront because, again, the land claim was all the way from the waterfront to Division all the way over to Baseline and over right at the end, allegedly, of where Emmer and that like road between, block 1 and the next block over. And so they moved the house over. And for the longest time, it was like a little brownstone, like / apartment building. But recently, some folks, you can Google it for the podcast, but they turned it kind of into like an Airbnb and they try to help restore it.
Oh.
So their house still exists. It's supposed to be one of, if not the oldest house in Portland.
Oh, that is so cool. I'll have to look it up. Now I really want to stay there and see if it's haunted.
Right? I think if anything were to be haunted, it would be their house.
Yeah. I was going to ask you too, have you experienced any creepy stuff like hauntings in the cemetery?
No. No, and I know some of our volunteers and board members have discussed that, and I could see it a little bit, but I haven't really too much. I kind of the feeling that when all of us friends of Lone Fir volunteers and board members die, we'll probably haunt it. And the reason I say that is because we spend so much time there,
Yeah.
right? So I don't know the connection some folks would have to that space. Maybe the Stevens would, um, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you're more likely to visit your home or if you haunt your, you know, your family. But the cemetery is like, unless you're really tied to that space emotionally, I don't know, right?
Yeah, I'm kind of on that same line of thinking too.
Yeah, I don't know that cemetery is haunted as people think. Although the only experience that I've ever had was at Wilhelm. And so I was there and there was a really, really cold area. I mean, it's kind of cold there anyways, but there's a certain part where I thought I felt a presence there. But it's
Oh.
one of the few times, it's the oldest part of Wilhelm, which is if you ever go do a little thing about them, we should do a thing about
Is
them.
that a
But
cemetery too?
it's one of the largest like mausoleums in the west of the Mississippi. There's like 30, 40,000 people interred in there. They're not buried at all. They're in the wall.
Oh gosh. Where is
Yeah.
this at?
It's in Selwood.
Oh my gosh. This is one of the reasons I have a podcast that talks about like the Pacific Northwest because I lived
So
here
they
my whole
do.
life and I
Yeah, so
don't know
they
anything.
do. Yeah, so they do. I've only lived here for 16 years,
You
but
know more than me.
yeah. But again, it's the Portland history that I'm really into. So I think like was it Clark Gable's first wife is buried there. The Povoy brothers are interred there, and you might who's the Povoy brothers? But they did all the glass at the Pittock Mansion, all the glass at anytime you see old stained glass, like the old church. I don't know if you're familiar with that venue. There's a few homes within Portland, all Povoy glass, and they were trained and mentored by Tiffany Glass. So it's got that vibe to it.
Oh wow.
Polson and Inman. So the Inman Polson working, they did the Inman Polson lumber. So that big blue house over on just by Ross Island Bridge.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's Johann Polson's house. And so him and Inman, Robert Inman had a lumber yard and they were supplying lumber to the city, but they both had twin houses. So you can now Google the Inman house that's been torn down. But there's the Polson house. Then they're both interred there too. So just saying, there's a
Wow.
lot of history there.
Oh yeah, that's definitely going to be something I'm going to be looking into after this.
Yeah, there's a particular, and also the Ray Room. So I can get you some information on how to contact people there if you want to do a tour.
Yeah, that would be great. That'd be
Yeah.
awesome.
Anyways.
So definitely you guys, are you always looking for volunteers?
Yeah, we're always looking for have more people to help us out. The more we can recruit volunteers throughout the year, the more reliable people are, the more people are dedicated. Just we're not having to retrain people and have a constant fresh new batch. We want to have people help with projects or do other things. So it's really helpful for us if you're involved and you're interested and you want to become a board member. You know, people want to move on sometimes, and that's okay, but we want to continue to have more ideas, more involvement. So yeah, we're always looking for volunteers. We always want people to be board members or to help out or be involved in projects or do other things. And we think outside the box. So last year I did a screening, which is a fundraiser for us at Clinton Street Theater, and Tara came out. We showed My Summer as a Goth because it was September, October, and it was, that movie came out a few years ago, and she was gracious enough to let it screen in Clinton Street Theater, and we rented anyway. So we did that, and then I rented out Holocene, and we did Tunes for Tombstone. So I got a bunch of bands, and we did a bunch of stuff. So I want to do. I haven't done it yet because I've just been so busy this past year. But there's an event I wanted to do, maybe at Crush or somewhere else, but show Body of Evidence, which is what I want to do, and have a drag show called Death is a Drag.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm coming to that. Please let me know when this is happening.
So just different ideas. And part of it was to outreach outside of the cemetery. In particular, so Holocene's actually not very far from the cemetery, and neither was Crush. So we haven't done anything at Crush. I'm just talking. That was an idea. But I'm trying to outreach to different areas and different groups to help let them know who we are and what we do, and to involve the community and to do different things within the community. So, for example, we did Ghosts of Summer this past year and the year before, which is sort of a vending event.
We've been to that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then this year, OMSI, I think every year they do, but OMSI invited us to come out to OMSI After Dark. And so it's October 30th. And it's, I think the theme is called Spirits. And so they've got a whole, I don't know, program planned of different things. So we're going to be out there with a booth just talking about what we do. That's October 30th. You can go to OMSI's website and find out more about tickets. So we're trying to do more things. We're getting invited to do more things outside of the cemetery, which is pretty fun and pretty cool.
That's awesome. And then
but we need more volunteers to be able to do it, right?
Yeah.
So there's only, we can't have the same 5 or 6 people showing up every single thing. Like, you're going to keep going. You keep seeing me and you'll be like, do you want to just do it all? I'm like, I do. But also there's just a core of, there's a consistent core of us. We would love more people out there.
So how do you recommend getting started volunteering?
Just email us at info@friendsoflonefirstcemetery.org, and we'll get back to you and we'll give you a whole step-by-step on how to do it. And then, let us know what you're interested in. If it's, hanging around tours, helping out with tours, is it helping be a site steward for next year's headstone workshops and what that looks like? You want to do research? Do you want to do, there's a whole slew of things. Okay. Do you want to help? We have a whole sort of crew out there that we've got working on, besides headstone workshops. They're helping sort of uproot some of the sunken in headstones, or a lot of them you think, oh, they're gone, but they're just sunken in. So we have like an edging crew is what we're calling them, and they come out and they pull weeds, or they do things. There's just a variety of things that you can help out with.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What is the email? We'll put it in the show notes just in case, but I want to say it out loud too.
Yeah, it's just info@friendsoflonefirstcemetery.org.
So easy.
Yeah.
So everyone please volunteer, help out, donate if you can too.
Yeah.
If you can't volunteer your time, volunteer your money.
Yeah. You can also come out. We've got shirts that we sell. We have them for sale at Skeleton Key. They're good friends of us. They help sort of be our storefront. If you can't come out to tours, we will have them for sale at our tours in October. So even if you don't go on a tour, you can pop over, and if you want to buy a shirt, you can do that. That helps. Everything just helps support us. It helps support who we are and keeping, the lights on, so to speak. So it's always appreciated.
And we appreciate you, the people who take care of this awesome space that we get to enjoy. So thank you so much for doing that.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Was there any last words you have? The dog might.
Yeah, Tuli does. No, I just think I appreciate the community support and the interest. This year is the highest attended headstone workshop. We were getting like 60 people per session at times, and it was just amazing and great. And hopefully that really sparks some interest with people, throughout the year. We do different stuff. So yeah, just come out and check it out, and know that any tour that you go on and anything that you do where you buy a ticket or you buy a shirt, you're spending money on a nonprofit. So we all are volunteers. I've been doing this for 12 years and I've been doing it for free. So this is just something where all the money goes back into us being able to do really cool stuff. So every dollar that you spend supports that effort.
Awesome. All right. Well, it's so nice to talk to you, Margaret. Thank you for doing this interview with me.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
And that's it.
Cool. All right. Thanks so much.
I mean, I'll cut it off before I said that, because that was an awkward ending.
Now, if you want to email me, I can give you and your co-host a ticket to pick a night. So I'll put you on the list.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. That would be so awesome. Oh.
Yeah, just let me know what night you want to go on and I'll add you on. I mean, we're only doing 25 per. And some of that is like, I think we're putting the Fort Vancouver people, a couple of them on, and Greg of KPTV, I told him we would put him on. So the group size gets to be like 27. It's not the worst thing in the world. You know what I mean? We can go up to 30 people. We just don't, because I want to be able to, they're crazy. I want to be able to, help, you're doing this podcast and it's helpful, but give me an email, shoot me an email and let me know what date you got and time you guys want.
Okay. Yeah. I would love that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I would say the closer you get to the end of October, it would be better.
Better?
Yeah, it's good. Well, I mean, don't be swayed. It's like 4:00 at night.
Yeah.
You're like, well, I don't want to go to a thing at 4:00. Well, first off, you can go to dinner or do whatever you want to afterwards. But honestly, like, look outside. It's going to get dark. I mean, we lose 15. I had to do math. We lose 15 minutes a week.
Oh, gosh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So everything is, we had to shift the times. And November 2nd was the cutoff because that Sunday is daylight savings.
Ugh.
And so it'll start to get dark like at noon. So we can't do anything past that
I
point.
thought we were done with that. I thought they canceled that. What happened?
Canceled. We're waiting for California. They're a large enough population where we can't do it. I don't know if they agreed to do it or not, but yeah.
They've all moved here. What do we need them for?
Right. Right. But yeah, so it is a darker in the cemetery, and the idea isn't for it to be dark, right? It's to be right at the twilight. Had I thought of it, and I was telling Jay, our board chair, I was like, and I've held many hats. Like I was the board chair for a while, and then I went back to just being this, and who knows what I'll do. So we've all rotated roles. But I should have called it Death at Dusk.
I
know.
Next year, though.
Next year, I mean, I know people are going to want us to do TUD next year. We'll see. I have PTSD over TUD. Last year was so banana pants. It was so much work. Because we had come out of COVID, and so we didn't have the volunteer base, is what it was.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know, and no one on our board, except for like 3 of us, had done TUD before. So we were like, oh my God, it's so much work.
Yikes. Yeah.
Yeah. And it ended up being fine, but I was like, oh my God. I was running around like a chicken that day. I was so tired.
That's how you know you're having fun, though, when you just don't remember what happened and then you pass out.
Oh, yeah. You have to get the pizza, and you get the tents, and then you have to get the lights, and then you're like, oh, they didn't bring the right tent. And just the whole day is yeah. Anyways. All right. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Have a good evening.
All right. Bye.
Bye, puppies. Okay, do you want to shuffle these and then
all right,
I'll take them back and do some drawing?
Okay.
Putting spooky season energy into it. Spooky season. Okay, I'm gonna do one more shuffle. Get my energies into it.
Get it.
Send me all your energy from the future. Help me pull this card. Oh, 7 of Swords. I don't know if it was visible because I kind of literally closed my eyes and just like pulled a card out. And so I don't know if that was visible on the camera, but that's what happened.
We're working with a 2-camera setup.
It is a little ghosty holding 5 swords, and then there's 2 kind of hanging out next to him.
And upright, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Our keywords are uncertainty, illusion, impetuousness, stealth, cunning, and strategy. Some decks, including the Rider-Waite-Smith, Aquarian, and Gilded Tarot, show a man carrying away 5 swords, leaving 2 stuck in the ground behind him. When this card appears, it suggests you're facing a challenge or problem and must use caution to overcome potential danger.
Please be careful out there during the spooky season.
Yes.
In the dark.
Yeah.
It's getting darker.
Especially. The upright 7 suggests a tricky situation in which things are not completely clear. Very on brand for the season. You may be formulating a plan but don't have all the information you need. Or the plan may be risky and could backfire.
Don't be visiting Don't be visiting abandoned buildings at night to ghost hunt.
Or maybe not cemeteries. I don't know. It's hard to say what it's about exactly.
We're not going to the cemetery alone.
I'm having second thoughts.
It is a tour with tons of people around. It's guided. It's safe.
Okay.
Don't go alone at night.
Okay. This card can represent surreptitious action and advises diplomacy. In a reading about money, the 7 warns that you probably shouldn't go ahead with a financial idea or investment you're considering. Perhaps the risks are too high, or the deal may be shaky or shady.
Oh, gotta watch out for those shady deals, you guys.
Yeah. The whole time I'm walking around the cemetery, I'm just like, I'm not making any deals. Might be beyond that. I'm just really focused on that whole thing, I feel.
I feel like once you listen to the interview with Margaret, you're not gonna be scared of the cemetery really anymore.
Okay. That would be the first time in my life, but first time for everything. If the reading is about your job, this card says, don't engage in direct confrontation. So don't go all Zach Bagel Bites all
demons.
over the place.
Don't bagel bites the demons.
Yeah, that's right. Don't bagel bites the demons. Cassie. Okay,
what?
I'm writing it down right now.
I'm not the only person who has said that.
No one said don't bagel bite.
I didn't even come up with bagel bites. I can't steal that.
But I feel like if the nickname exists, don't bagel bite the demons. That's okay. I'm making a t-shirt with that. Mark my words. Okay. I don't care.
Bagel bite words.
Yeah, that's right. Bite that bite. Bite that bagel.
Bite that demon.
Yeah. Bite that diamond. Bite that bagel diamond. Okay. Work behind the scenes to get results. The upright 7 can also indicate restlessness. Perhaps your job lacks the diversity or stimulation you desire. Consider making a change. Well, I'd really love to. Will you support us on Patreon so that I can no longer work my soul-sucking corporate job?
Please.
In a reading about love, you're advised to seek compromise and use diplomacy rather than arguing with a partner. But don't just go along to get along. And that's why I am no longer going on the tour, because I cannot go along to get along.
Yes, you can.
I'm so scared. Sometimes this card shows leaving a relationship that doesn't meet your intellectual or spiritual needs. You're like, I'm leaving you.
I'm leaving you.
Yeah.
We have nothing in common.
Okay, there's an extra excerpt.
Okay.
Be focused and thorough in planning your strategy. As Barbara Moore writes in The Gilded Tarot Companion, be on guard, or one of those swords he left behind will find its way into his back. Okay, well, now it seems like it's hinting at murder.
I just feel like it's just a good reminder for people, because we, drew the card just for, spooky season. So just a reminder to just watch out, be safe. There's illusions. There's all kinds of illusions. There's people dressed up. Just be safe. That's all. What?
I'm worried about what my face looks like right now, so I just want to hide.
Oh. I'm like, what?
You're like,
what do you see? What do you know that I don't? It's interesting though, because like in this card, like it just looks like, the sun is setting.
Yeah.
Earlier. I don't know. We were talking about like the twilight tombstones.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to read the extra excerpt at the end of the reverse interpretation. I feel like I'm going to live to regret it, because it kind of seems like it's taking your stupid side.
It always does.
Tragedy should be utilized as a source of strength. No matter what sort of difficulties, how painful experience is, if we lose our hope, that's our real disaster. Do you want to guess who said that?
I have no idea.
His Holiness
Jesus Christ.
the 14th Dalai Lama.
Oh.
Yeah, no, I don't read a lot of Jesus quotes.
Yeah. I don't think there's a lot of Jesus quotes in the tarot book.
Probably not. Do we have anything else to share with the people, or?
I don't, but if you guys, want to let us know if this card helped you out, if you were listening to it at the exact right moment you needed it, you can always let us know. I think it's interesting to see how far down the road when people are listening to, certain tarot reads and how they relate to their own lives that are happening at that moment. I'm just curious.
Yeah. It just makes me think of that. I think it's kind of a trend on, it's multiple platforms, but I always think of TikTok where it's like, I don't know who needs to hear this today, you know? And I'm like, oh yeah. Because sometimes, you're seeing that sometimes, weeks, months, however long after the person has kind of put that out.
On TikTok, aren't things dead after like an hour?
Basically.
And no one sees it again?
Yeah, so it feels like it's even more meant to be, right?
But I feel like with ours is going to last for years and years. So like 200 years down the road, let us know how this card relates to you.
Ticking and talking,
Because you sent me your energy and it went into that card. And it's for you. I don't know why I'm doing finger guns.
Finger guns. We do like those as a gesture.
You know what else is kind of funny? Okay, so let me just relate this back to just us personally real quick.
Okay.
Us two in the graveyard and the ghosts are like, what the fuck are they doing here? Why are they here? I got to take all my swords away from these two. Anyway, that was just my funny little interpretation of that.
Yeah.
Well, let's go do some spooky shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go be spooky.
We're going to be spooky for so many more weeks. I'm so excited.
We really need to do midnight margaritas like very soon.
Okay. Like for real? Like a live stream, actual midnight margaritas?
Oh, we should. That would be fun.
We can do that.
Do you guys want that?
You want to join us at midnight? That's really late, but like you guys can do it.
We could do it on a Saturday night.
Yeah.
Keep it fresh. Keep it funky.
It's just a bunch of us sleeping live on
We all have an alarm set to wake us up at midnight for the margarita.
It's probably more accurate.
Yeah.
That's what happens in the movie though. So that's more authentic.
Is it?
Yeah. She wakes her up with the blender sound.
Yeah,
and then
you're
she's going to wake up her
right.
sister.
My God, you guys, this has been an elder millennial calling card from the jump. Okay. Let's do this. I have a blender. Do you have a blender? Let's do this.
I have a ninja.
I have a ninja too.
Is a ninja a blender?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah. It doesn't matter because you'll be here and we'll use my ninja.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah. We can compare notes on our ninjas and just make sure that everything's, up to snuff and you've got the things.
Okay.
In case you need one, at midnight, another time.
Well, everyone get your blenders, get prepared.
Yeah, I think that's a fun idea.
We'll keep you updated.
Yeah. Keep you posted.
In the meantime,
have a creepy ass day.
We'll see you next Tuesday.
Or at midnight, whatever.
Unless we lost Caitlyn at the cemetery.
I need my comfort item. I need my comfort item.